So here I'm going to show how I would start to recreate the walls in my Revit file based on this Rhino import. So I have an AutoCAD file that's been imported from Rhino, or exported from Rhino and imported as a generic model. And the first tool I'll show you is the architectural wall by face. And here you can see you could choose a bunch of different wall types. I'm just going to choose an 8-inch generic. And now you can see that whenever I hover over a plane, it's going to want to fill it. And if I can, if I select it, then you can start to see that it is, whoops, wrong tab there. It's adding the walls. And you can go ahead and do this for a bunch of different walls. And you can change the wall type and do it again. And you'll notice that whenever you have an opening, so it's a plane with a cut in it, if you double click it, you have a profile manager here. And you can change this, you can delete some of this stuff if that's what you want to do. For instance, if I actually wanted this to be a wall, you can double click to get to the profile. If it is a flat wall. Now, if it's a curved wall, you're going to have a little bit different of a time. So here I'll show you this curved wall. So we'll go to architectural wall by face. And you can see this is pretty successful. You can actually go to a ground floor plan as well. And you have some handles on this that you can change. Now, if you're finding that it's hard to manipulate some of this stuff, you can do just this, where you can go to a ground floor plan and it will cut in the middle of your generic model at about the same height as your floor plan, and you can just add in walls. So for instance, here I can add in walls and pay attention to where your location line is. So if it's on wall center line and I click this point, you can see that it is on the, that's the center line of the wall. Now if it's finish face exterior and you're drawing like this and you can see that it's actually drawing on the wrong side, you can use the space bar and it will flip sides. So this is another way you can go ahead and create your walls. And sometimes you'll see that it's sort of hard to see through here, so you might want to switch to a wireframe when you're doing this. And you can also go to architectural wall and you can draw by shapes. So here I have a rectangle and I want to sort of draw these rectangles as well, and then I can manipulate these with something like the align tool. So let's align this. Whoops, that's not going to work. I am editing a roof. Didn't mean to do that. Let's go to modify, align, and there we go. And then we can align here. You can always align the center of things as well. So let's say I want to align the center of that to that line. I'm going to select my reference first, and now you can hover over that center line. You can also always click tab when you're over something, and it will sort of choose that for you. And so then what you can do is you can bring these out, or and then copy this, make sure your multiple is on, and just use a datum that works. So that would be an easy way to make 3 elevators. Now if we go into our 3D view and we can unpin this, this is, just hide this in the view for a second. You can start to see that I'm creating these walls. Now they might not be on the right level and they might not be the right height, so you might have to connect them to the top level. And if you go into or the level above it, if you go into like say a north elevation, you could drag this up, but it's better to actually connect it to a level above, because then if you move the level, let's connect this is the level 2 plenum. So if I go to top constraint, if you move that plenum, you can see that the wall moves with it. So that's the power of Revit. The shell walls here, I'm going to delete these here so we can see a little bit better what's going on inside. You can always tab to get multiple things. You can right click to go ahead and select all multiple instances. Let's see here. So select all instances, an entire project. or the view, and then you can change these to, you know, go all the way to the top. And this is where you might, you know, use your elevations to figure out what's going on. So for instance, if I have this ground floor plan and the north floor plan, I'm going to use WT to tile my windows, and now I can select over these. And if I just click in here with the middle mouse button, we can't see exactly what's going on, but I'm going to go into a wireframe, and you can see how far these are going to go up. And so I need them to go to the roof. So I'm going to go ahead and change their top constraint to the roof. And so the floor plan doesn't change, but you can see inside here they do change. So that is the sort of key features. You can also drag these up and down if you want to do that, or use the align tool as well with three-dimensional planes. But those are sort of the key features that I would recommend starting with in terms of rebuilding walls. And we can always change these walls later. So unlike Rhino, where we would sort of have to rebuild everything, we can change these to, let's say, you know, 6-inch wall. And you can select all of them and change them to a 6-inch wall as well, without having to redo a lot of stuff. So that is the second step I would take. I would rebuild sort of the core elements using the architecture wall by face, and if that doesn't work, then go ahead and use architecture wall, go into a ground floor plan. Might have to change it to wireframe, keep that in mind, and go ahead and rebuild a lot of these interior elements, and we'll start to make a floor plan.